I want to talk a little bit about infantilization. And I didn't understand it when I was doing my own recovery work and understanding the nature of what it's like to live with narcissists who make your life a little difficult. I am 31 years old. I live with my folks because after losing a lot back in 2015, and 5 years from now trying to figure out how to get money back in the bank account, understanding the nature that I had to spend a lot of my money to buy just basic generic needs, and now I'm kind of broke, and it makes you feel like you're spiraling out of control because the fact that based upon what I've grown up with. And when you're dealing with narcissistic or borderline personality disorder individuals, like a mother or a father figure, they can make your life really confusing, and it can be very, very frustrating because you want to deal with these situations effectively but don't know how to, because you're basically living in their house, their rules, but at the same time though, they make it impossible for you to move forward, and they complain about it. So they create the situation but complain about the situation that they create. So you may not have the money to move out, to do what you gotta do, or go get another job, because of the fact that they may hold you back from actually achieving the goals that you want. So you have to understand, if you're dealing with narcissistic or borderline personality disorder individuals, you have to really acknowledge that they have a limited space in their own mind of understanding other people's needs and wants, criteria in life, and all of that. They don't really show empathy. There's a difference though. For example, my mother's very needy. She wants to be treated like a little child. She's just really very, very immature in her emotions at times. And it can be very difficult when little ailments like a stomach ache or a headache comes into place. She wants to be treated like a child. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing this with me. I had to set better boundaries with this. And when I set better boundaries like this, I realized that this is not healthy. When you keep feeding into the inner childhood wounds, you end up feeding the child within you that is not going to be, you want pity more than sympathy. And there's a difference, okay? And this is how she will try to get attention. I did this when I was younger. I know what this is like. So when you're trying to get attention, you have to understand the nature of why you're being attention seeking. And for me, particularly when it came down to it, is because the fact when I went with my relationship with my mother, she did things her way. A lot of times, it made it very difficult to have your own boundaries, restrictions, because the fact that you do live with them, it's like they can do whatever they want. But at the same time, though, respect goes both ways. You want to respect me, I'll respect you back. If you don't respect me, I'm not going to show you respect. I'm sorry, but I had enough people being in some people's doormats now. I'm now restricting you to realizing I am not tolerating certain behavior patterns. And you can still do that when you're living in someone else's home. It's very hard, but you can. Because of the fact that these people don't have the capacity to understand other people's needs and wants. And so you have to be very honest about what's going on with this. So when you're being infantilized or being treated like younger than what you really are, and it's stopping you from actually getting a job or actually getting you work, they're doing this on purpose, because the fact that they want to make you feel like you're the incompetent one. They want to make you feel as if you are incapable of working full time. But that's not true. And when I had worked in companies that were I had worked in companies that were very quite shady, and quit my jobs because of the fact that I'm tired of the shadiness that comes with it. But I had to be very honest about the situation, circumstances, and really understanding that if something doesn't feel right for me, I'm not going to stay somewhere that's going to make it toxic. It's like trying to stay in a high vibration all the time, but eventually staying in that high vibration will lower your own frequency down the road. Because if you try to force it and stay in that high vibration all the time, you're exhausting yourself. You're basically the energy is going to be sucked out of you. So I understand that. And my parents will always complain that you can never hold down a job. You can never really, they will put these negative thoughts in your head. And I'm like, here we go again. But at the same time, there were times when I lost my jobs too, and they blame it on me. I'm like, here we go again. So it's really hard to really understand the nature of parents. I know they want me to, it's like they say they want me to do well, but they don't want me to do well. This is what's very conflicting in messages, because they don't know what it is that they want for themselves, let alone understanding what the child is going through. I had no idea what I wanted, what I needed. So I had to really unravel all this junk that I carried for so long and understand okay, what is it that I want in the end? But when it came down to it, was that my parents infantilized me to the point where I felt like I thought I was extremely incompetent in anything that I was trying to do. But in reality, I was just really frustrated at the fact that I couldn't meet certain criteria that my parents wanted me to make. Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm this bookshelf is really annoying me. Sorry. So I really want to understand that. I was trying to get them to understand the nature of what I was going through, but instead of being understood, I was constantly criticized. I don't know what's with Asian parents and criticizing their young ones, but they often do it. But you also see this with narcissistic parents. Narcissistic parents will do that. They constantly will criticize their child because they don't want them. It's like their way of needing attention. My sister was a golden child, my younger sister. I was the scapegoat. So being the scapegoat child to my mother was pretty much the nature of trying to, it's like no matter how much I try to appease her or please her or whatever, I still look like the bad guy. I'm like, here we go again. Or like this morning, if I didn't make an egg for my dad right off the bat because I was making something else, I was like the bad child. No, I'm just done you trying to treat me like this anymore. No. You want to make the egg? Go make an egg. There's a pot and pan right there. Go make the egg for Dad. Because I'm not like a walking doormat. I'm not her servant, and that's what she likes. She likes someone to serve her. And I remember my mother complaining the fact that no one's serving her, no one's doing this for her. I'm like, you know what? You're acting like a total spoiled brat right now. No, this is why no one wants to be around you. And that's something I had to be very honest about. Why a lot of people don't like to be around these types of people, because these people act as if the world's against them, and they act as if the world is out to get them in some ways. And I'm just like, oh my God, if this was me like now, I would totally not want to hang out with myself either. This is why you have to do the inner healing work. This is why you have to do the work that's inside of you, and understand that when you're being infantilized by a parent and you're old enough to make decisions of your own, you're trying to make decisions of your own, you're trying to ask for help, they will twist it around to make you feel like you can't take it to daily care in front of you. Here you go, take it. And then they pull it away. It's like, So it's a really lot of frustration that you feel. It's like a pent up anger that you feel inside of you. And I'm not trying to be like negative here all the time, but I'm just being realistic that this is what they will end up doing. They will, say they were going to give you, like my mom said, she bought a new car. She's not driving the new car. And it's like, if you don't want to drive the new car, I'll drive it. Like, it's sitting in the driveway. I had a photo, or let me use the old car and drive that. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and I saw some pictures. I was talking to them. So this is my mom's car here, her new car. My dad's gold car right there next to it, and that's the spare car. I know it's a silhouette; it's really bad lighting, but that's the car that's sitting in the garage that I really wanted to use, because she's not using it really. She's using that more than the Civic. And I was just like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm not driving for 5 years. Not driving for 5 years is driving fucking crazy. So it's like they say, oh, you need to get the car insurance and then we'll give you a title. No, you have to get the title and then the car insurance. That's how it works. What's my insurance? See, this is what I had to do, and I would pay way too much for insurance. I realized I was like, my dad helped me get insurance. I'm like, no, this is not how it works. But I remember getting my car. This is my car accident notes. So this is what I had to deal with back in 2015, and I lost my car in the accident. So I kept that just to show you guys that this is what I've been through. So this is from 2015 to now. And when you're dealing with this kind of situational circumstances, it's like your mind is so worked up in trying to fix it that you don't know how to fix it anymore because you need help. And I don't mind asking for help every so often, but I don't want to burden other people to the point where they are obligated to help me. I don't want that. I want to be able to be independent again. And I don't mind asking with some friends of mine for help once in a while, but after a while, it's like they have their own lives. They don't need to, what's the word? It's like they don't have to. And I'm like, you don't have to if you don't want to, it's fine. But it'll be great if I can get help, because if I can't drive, I can't do it. Like, there's a difference between when my mom says she can't do something and she doesn't want to do it. My mom said, oh, I can't drive to this place. I'm like, yes, you can. You just don't want to. Like, she has cars to drive with. I don't have a car. So when you're using situations like mine, like saying, oh, I can't do something because I really can't do something, there's a difference. It's like there's things where you can't do something. Like if your car broke down and you can't just walk to work or something, yeah, then you gotta ask for a ride. But if you have a car and you can drive and you say you can't do it, that's not what that means. You don't want to do it. So this is why it's very confusing and conflicting, because people who have been infantilized by narcissists, they feel like there is always some sort of confusion in their own head, and maybe there is something wrong with them. No, it's just knowing the factors of what you have been through that they create the scenarios. I'm like, It's mind-boggling. So this is why you have to recover from yourself. This is why you have to understand who you are. This is why you have to have a solid foundation within yourself. The more solid that you are within yourself, you have a better chance of breaking out of this. And I understand the nature of feeling infantilized. I understand how your children will feel when they feel like this, when they feel like they are being treated younger than what they really are, and they're not being treated as if they are willing to make that transition. Understand, my mother is the youngest, so for some reason, young children who are the second child think that the bossiest and the most conceited people a lot of times. Not saying always, but a lot of times that is the case. And they helicopter, they overgeneralize things. It makes you feel like as an adult, you can't be the adult. It's like, God, I don't know what to do right now. So this is why a lot of these children become dependent, because of the fact that they can't be independent when they are with these types of people. Because the narcissistic parents need some sort of supply from that child. They need that closeness. They need that attachment. It's like they make them feel as if they can't adult by themselves. And this is what a lot of my parents did to me. And I was just like, interesting enough, that was the case. I mean, there are times when, yeah, I can just stick it out at certain jobs, but if it's so draining, exhausting, it's not worth your sanity over it. It's mental health is so important, as well as physical health. If you're not mentally healthy, how is your physical body going to be, you know? And I was talking to a friend of mine who is a doctor, and he's stressed out a lot of times with that and work. And I'm like, interesting enough, I totally understand that. You're in like in department where, in the hospital, where you're just always overworked and stuff. I'm like, interesting enough. So it's just really understanding all these people's stories, and we do talk at least once a week about situations, but and we just end up like, because it's like the easiest thing to talk. It's like we just connect. I don't know, but we do, and I'm like, interesting enough, yeah, it's part of adulting. It's like you want to be an adult, but you can't be an adult. And I'm like, I talked to my friend of mine, and I'm getting a little bit off topic. The same guy that I was talking to, and I was talking to him like, yeah, you have no idea what I deal with. Like, my parents are fucking crazy. It's to the point where he thinks, because he's a lot older than I am, he's like, oh, your parents love you. I'm like, no, they don't. Love is not about control. There is no need for control in love. Unconditional love doesn't show this kind of restrictions to the point where it's driving you mad. I'm sorry, if love kills and if love is pain, then I don't want this. I don't. And I remember sitting in his car, I was just like, this is crazy, because like, if you lived it, it's a bit totally different story. But if you're somewhere outside listening to this, it sounds totally crazy, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't to many people who haven't dealt with borderline personality disorders or personality disorders at all. And it's just like, it makes you feel like you sound a lot of craziness. But that's what it is. I had to recover from this. I had to really work 4 years just to be okay with myself. So understanding, when you're basically being told how to be, how to want, and if you're being controlled all your life, understand that when you become an adult, you don't know who you are, because you have to be everything that your parents were, and your parents are fucking confusing as it was, and because they were confusing, they didn't know who they were, they ended up making you feel like you're the mess and you're creating all these problems. No. Understand that they created the problems beforehand because they never knew who they were, got married early, ended up going into this relationship that maybe wasn't right for them in the first place, and then decided to get married, have kids, and then boom, roller coaster ride all over again. It's a huge roller coaster ride, you know? So it's about really putting things into perspective and putting this perception, you know, of what it's like to feel as if you're not good enough. And infantilization makes you feel that. You feel like you're being treated like a child, even if you're an adult. And no matter how much you try to be an adult, they still see you as a child. It's just like, oh my God. This is why when I try to get my 16 grand back, I couldn't get the money because I didn't have enough proof, and it was just like, here we go again. And we live in an area where you have to drive. It's not like, oh, you can just get up and walk. No, we live in the suburbs. If you understand the US in the suburbs, you need to have a car. Uber and, you know, Uber can only go so far, and there's no public transportation where I live. And even my friends were telling me like, yeah, why can't you out of your house? And there is no way to get around. How would you expect you to do anything? I'm like, I don't know. I've been trying to figure this out for the past 4 years. Still no answer. But that's what it is. That's what it feels like. It's like this roller coaster ride in your mind. You're like, I don't know what to do. And my son needs to be in preschool because it will help him to develop better with other kids around and help him to interact with kids his own age instead of being home all the time. And this is what the narcissistic parents create. They create the scenarios so they don't make you work, and they say, oh, Irene's not doing anything, just because they want to be able to prove that I am the incompetent one. No, they stop it because they don't want to. They want to. This is how they create. So that's something I had to really look at, and I tried working with different organizations and trying to move forward in this, and it's not been legit at the moment, but that's what ends up happening. So I had to be very honest about this and really work on it. And it's like, all because you want something for your child, the way you go about it isn't right. There shouldn't be really 100% conditions in certain things, especially if your daughter is trying to put her life back on track. Understand how narcissists, I had to understand that how narcissistic borderline personality disorder parents thought, and how that really messed up my life to the point where I just like, okay, let me just fix all of this first and then get back on track. So that's what I had to do. Is it easy to live in a household where you feel infantilized? No. Is your parents still is my parents still trying to get me to do things their way? Yes, a lot of times. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna do it that way. And my mom is very manipulative, and she's very conniving in the way she thinks, and she expects me to cook just because if she gets home, I can cook for her. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not your slave. You want to cook? Go cook yourself. That's it. I had to set that boundaries with her. I'm like, no, because I know your tactics very well. I know how this works in the end. So it's about setting those boundaries and really working towards what you really want. So anyways, I hope this video helps. If you want to get in touch with me, if you want to get help with this, subscribe to my channel, push that notification bell, and if you are new to this channel, as well as if you want to catch me, my website link is down below. I hope this video helps for those of you who are watching. I know there's a lot of information out there, but this is just from my own story, and it's just trying to figure all of this situational thing, and it's work, but it's just knowing that I'm a little bit much more focused and much more sane than I was 4 years ago. And I've done videos like this before. I deleted all of my videos, content as well. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back and talk about this, because I think it's so important for anybody else who's going through mental health issues that they are able to get that separation and really be able to see things differently. Anyways, yeah. Talk to you guys real soon.